hope you're staying home and only stepping out when there is the need to, if you're not a frontliner. It's another great week. We're midway through the week, and I hope that you've been able to do something beneficial for yourself, not minding the fact that we're home. As a matter of fact, being home is the ultimate excuse to start to do things for yourself, because now you have time. You can make time out of no time, if you get what I mean, to do something for yourself. I mean, a lot of people feel that in this lockdown, uh, they're feeling a bit low and a bit down, and that's understandable. We're all not used to this, but we can make lemonade out of this lemon. So it's time to use the time that we have to do something for ourselves. So I want to welcome you to Sharing with Yemi this Wednesday. I want to start to welcome everyone who's joining us here this evening. Hi, Faith. It's great to have you here. Faith says, I braided my hair myself. Ooh, well done, girl. Very good. So that's a skill you've discovered. There you go. You probably would never have done that but for the lockdown. So there you go. You might just start a business in hair braiding by the time all this is over, if you could do it for yourself. You never know. You never know. So I'm delighted to have you guys join us. If you're here already, please say hello, say hi. Let me know that you're here with us today. I've got two amazing guests today. Today, we're going to be talking about the supports that are available for young people out there during this lockdown. I know there's a lot of talk about the lockdown and all that, but you see, on Sharing with Yemi, and for those who know, for Sharing with Yemi, the purpose of this was just to help us all through this lockdown period. To ensure, I started this as a support for my constituent, and now it's gone beyond my constituent of Navan, and now it's Meath, and now it's Ireland, and it's even beyond the shores of Ireland. So I really appreciate everyone who's connected with this. This is our time, the 1 hour we spend together every day, aside from Saturday and Sunday, to just try and empower ourselves, to inspire and motivate ourselves, to keep going. We're in this together, and this will be over soon. And in this period, we're all in this together. Let's see how we can all just hold our hands and go through this together. God bless every single one who's been a part of this support. And on that note, I just really want to share with you all MIB Motivate, Inspire, Build, which is our training academy, is holding its first conference, its first online conference this Saturday. So you want to be a part of this. The great news about this is it is free. You can all log in, but there's limited space. So I'm just going to share this with you. You probably have seen it already. I hope that you go book your space and that you connect. I'm going to let you see this for just a few seconds there, right? So there you go. Go book your space. Visit my website, www.yemiadenuga.com, to book your space for the conference. It's on Saturday, and it's about developing ourselves, rebranding or branding ourselves. If you haven't branded yourself already, this is the perfect time to do it. People are wondering, what do I do with myself at this time? Well, worry no more and wonder no more. They're fantastic people who are great at personal development, and they're going to come and share with you tools and resources available to you to help you begin to build your personal brand while you're at home now, so that when all this is over and we come out of this, you're going to come out, right? It will be your coming out, and people will see you as you want them to see you, a better you. So do take the time to log on and then book your space for this conference on Saturday. I look forward to seeing you at the conference. All right. Welcome everyone who's joining us here. Are Akim, is great to have you here from the States. Thank you for joining us. Hi, dear Pat McDermott, my lovely, ever available friend. God bless you immensely. Thank you for being here. And so without wasting much time, I'd love to introduce my guests today. My first guest is an amazing woman who does incredible work with young people. And it comes from a place of support. Her heart is in the right place all the time, always wanting to give young people the best, always thinking about what's right for the young people. For young people, I tell you something about this woman, right? Before you meet her, when you hear her speak about young people, you just know that you dare not put young people down where she is at. You don't even try it, right? She's like the defender. You know the way we have Voltron, defender of the universe. Well, she's Kay, defender of the young people. Hi, Kay. Welcome to Sharing with Yemi.
I feel like I should have me wearing a cape now or something and going, da, da, da,
da, superhero Kay.
Hi, Yemi. How are you?
It's great to have you on Sharing with Yemi today. How are you keeping?
Oh, I'm keeping fine. I've had my moments where you doubt your sanity and you hope that your teenage son, who's behind you at the moment, putting a pizza in the oven while you're on live on Facebook. There's been moments, but for the most part, I can't believe it's been as long as it's been. Like, I've been off at home. I won't say off work because I've been working. I've been at home as long as the young people have been off school. So we're kind of going into our 7th week now.
Yeah.
So and like when someone was to tell you were to do something for 7 weeks, or you weren't going somewhere for 7 weeks, you're like, oh my God, that's so long. But when you look back, it's gone by in a blur. You know, it's gone by. It's gone by quite quick. You know. So in some ways, yeah, it's crazy. Time going by is so I'm doing okay. I've started reading again. I haven't had time to read, you know, this thing that we've never had before. So I'm reading books again, and I like good escapism, silly books about witches and warlocks and zombies and things like that. See, completely away from the real world.
You do need a cape.
So I'm sharing my house presently with 3 teenage boys. My husband, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and at times it can feel small, but at times I'm very grateful for. I feel like I've stolen a bit of their teenage years, which is as a mother is amazing, because you know my house was becoming more and more empty as you know they've gotten older. My eldest is 18. I have a 15-year-old and then a 13-year-old. And this lockdown has kind of enforced this being together that initially they got into kicking and screaming, but we're now experiencing something that we hadn't experienced in a long time, unless we went on away for a family holiday or something like that, you know. So I'm very appreciative for the small parts, and I think it's very important that we look for the small parts. You know, gratitude, they reckon, is one of the best keys to good mental health, that we should all look for something that we should be grateful for. Yeah, we need to look for something we're grateful for, and I don't mean that in any kind of a hippie way or a flippant way, because I know I've had my days where, as I told you last week, I wasn't even talking to the dog. I was in that bad a form, you know. Me and the dog had even fallen out. He didn't even come on my walk with me. But for the most part, you know, it's been okay.
Oh my word! Okay, you're a breath of fresh air every time. Kay, you work with Involve, and it's for young people. So tell us a bit about Involve.
Yes. Involve Meath is a youth service that I've been working for 10 years now, nearly. I'm going into my 10th year. And we work with young people from 6 years of age up to 24 years of age. We can work with, but generally our oldest young person is about 19. We work mostly with young people from the travelling community. It is a traveller specific Irish Tatler specific youth service, but we turn no one away, because how can you promote inclusion if you start being completely exclusive is kind of my thinking. We're completely led by what the young people want. So we've 2 youth clubs. We've one in the Wine Town up near where you guys are, in Navan, and then we have one in Trim, in Castle Meadows. Our youth club in Trim is 100% young people from the travelling community, where our one in Winetown, I like to call it my little Benetton ad. You know, the United Benetton, they used to have these fabulous posters back in the 90s. Well, we have young people from the Nigerian community, Eastern European community, settled young people and travellers. And, you know, for the most part, we're one happy, very annoying family, because we do a great time, you know. So we've split our youth club into different groups. So we have juniors and what we call tweens. So they're the in-betweens. They're not the little ones, but they're not the big ones. And then we have our senior group. So we do various different activities. Obviously, they're completely age-appropriate activities. And you know, the activities depend on what the young people want and what they need. We do everything from activities to it. Mental health. We have a really, really good mental health project called the No Shame Project. And it was developed by young people for young people. So the whole idea of the project is to try and make young people realize that there's no shame. There's no shame. Should make you feel bad, whether you're LGBT, whether you're homeless, whether you're rich, you're poor, you're black, you're white, you're settled, you're traveller. There should be no shame that should cause mental health issues. And then there should be no shame in looking for help. So when we were doing this project, the word shame kept coming up over and over and over again. And one of our young people literally had an aha moment where he went, wow, imagine if there was no shame, there'd be no mental health issues, you know. So we've a great project there. It's gone from strength to strength. We started off with just a poster idea, and it grew. We have merchandise now. We made an online video that's had over 10,000 views.
I remember that video. I remember when it was being made, and I came in and I saw the young people. I was so like, yay!
Yeah, so the young people, I'm sorry, my dog is eating a bone at my feet and he's going to yeah, so we made the video, and then just recently we got some really good news because we applied to Facebook, and now we've gotten a grant to make a board game. So we're going to make a board game that's going to make young people talk about mental health issues. So we also do like homework support clubs. It's really important because, you know, not every parent can read and write as much as we think in Ireland. It can be amazing how young people might need support at home. We do lots of arts and crafts. We have a lovely garden and trim. So we have a program called a Seed to Soup program. So we literally plant the seeds and make the soup, you know, it's as simple as that. But I remember one time on that note, we had young people, when we pulled the carrots out of the ground, they were like, I'm not eating them, they're dirty. Like, my carrots are never dirty. And I was like, once upon a time your carrots were dirty, honey. So they don't, you know, it's amazing things. I'm a farmer's daughter, so I know a lot about the birds and the bees and things like that, but they honestly didn't know that the carrots that they eat were once upon dirty in the ground. You know, they couldn't, you know, get that. We're in a very lucky position where we started doing European youth exchanges a couple of years ago. So unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year with the way things are. But for the past 4 years, we've been to Italy, we've been to Spain, we've been to Portugal, we've been to Bulgaria. You know, we've had some amazing times. I've been to Finland on a training. So, you know, the Erasmus program, being part of Europe, is fabulous. Not like what our neighbours think, but yeah, so we really do all kinds of everything. We're very much led by the young people. So if the young people come to me and have a great idea and there's something in it and, you know, it's feasible. Obviously, okay, we want to go to Disneyland is not something we entertain. But if the funding is there, we're all about non-formal education. And people kind of say to me, oh, you're a teacher or you're a childminder. I'm neither, and I'm both. You know, we completely focus on non-formal education. So we're constantly teaching our young people things, and they don't know they're learning it. So we're teaching everyday life skills. So we're teaching about communication. We're teaching about social and personal development. We're teaching young people about problem solving. So these are all lifelong skills, and this is what distinguishes youth services from what maybe young people learn at school, which is way more formal.
That's just amazing. So, sitting here listening to all these things that involve youth, Meath is doing, and it's just incredible. And I guess Navan is blessed to have a youth group like involved within its community, and you have indeed impacted so many young people. I mean, I know that for a fact because I know your work and I understand your work. You know, I would be a great supporter of your work. And you mentioned there about informal learning for young people. This is one thing that I personally always advocate because I believe that not every person who goes to school as in formal education is academic minded or that will understand what it is to learn within the four walls of the school. So our young people also learn things outside the walls of the school that they're not ordinarily taught to class. And that's where your organization comes in.
Yes, absolutely. Because, you know, well, the old saying that every day is a school day, that's so true. You know what I mean? Like, we're always learning something. Even somebody, sorry, just hang on a second.
He wants to be a guest on this show.
Oh my goodness, he's driving me insane with the bone.
You know what? I think he's feeling that you're taking too much shine.
Yeah, like he's not a little boy. Look at the size of him. He's a small horse. Say hi.
He's a special
right yeah, now. So a special guest. And believe it or not, his name ironically is Tiny. So
no
yeah,
way.
Even though he's not tiny. Yeah. So poor dog. We gave him complex. Yeah, but every day is a school day. You know, young people can learn. Like, for example, like when we go on an exchange, some people go, "Oh, you're bringing the kids away on a holiday." So, for example, the year we went to Bulgaria, Bulgaria has a different currency. So we were talking to the young people about currency. So, and then also when they were away with us for the week, they have to budget. So that's a life skill. You know, Mommy and Daddy was not there with them, while Kay and Brian and the other youth workers were there in a capacity to help and to guide and to steer. We very much stand back and let the young people learn. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't always be giving them the answers all the time. Sometimes they have to figure it out. You know, sometimes they have to struggle and realize I made a mistake, but that's okay.
Yeah. You know? This is the one thing I always advocate as well in connecting parents with whatever it is that their kids are involved with. So they understand what the kids are learning and they appreciate it, the value that brings to the child's life. You know, especially where you're talking about life learning, you know, you want them to see what the children are gaining. You mentioned Brian there, and Brian is an incredible young man who started with Involve as a teenager, and today Brian is actually working with Involve. I'm going to welcome Brian on Sharing with Yemi today. Please welcome Brian Doyle on Sharing with Yemi. Hi, Brian.
Hello, thanks for having me.
How are you? You're a fine young man, Brian.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Fine, doing really good, yeah.
Very good, very good. It's great to have you on the show. Brian, you were first a member of Involved as a young person. When did you first join Involved?
Wow, it's a long time ago. Maybe 2010 it could have been.
Oh wow.
12. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
What year I was.
Yeah, and so that would have been when you were a teenager at that time, yes?
Yeah, I would have been a teenager. Yeah.
Okay, so there's so many youth groups out there, and sometimes one wonders how many should young people get involved in. So when you joined Involve, what were you looking for? As a teenager, what cost?
I didn't actually know what a youth club was or any of this at the time. Like, you know, it was kind of a routine for me. So it was something that was in my housing estate, and I could go there every twice a evening or every evening maybe, with my friends and you know, do activities with my friends there. And it was a nice, safe place. And also there was someone there to talk to if I ever needed someone and to trust. So it was a nice place to be in.
I love the words you used there. It was a safe space. And that's key to any work that people are doing with young people. Sometimes young people, that's what they're looking for, a safe space where they can express themselves without fear of being judged or people ridiculing them. So for you considered Involve as a safe space when you started to go there. So what were you able to share that made you feel it was a safe space? Was it personal stuff or was it just things that were happening around you at the time?
It would be just things that happen around the time. Like, you know, even if I did have a personal problem, I know I would have been able to talk to someone that I could trust, you know. So I felt like I could talk to anyone if I needed to.
Very good. What are some of the things as a young person that you were able to gain from being in the club, in the group at the time? The things you benefited from being in the group.
I suppose being more educated about things, you know. I'm not too quite sure like how to answer that really.
Okay, so we were talking about learning things about life generally. Did you learn any of those stuff when you were younger, before you started to give back and work for Evolve? We'll talk about that in a minute. But when you were a teenager and you went there, so you've mentioned one thing there. You've mentioned that for you, a benefit was that you had a safe space where you could have a conversation knowing that nobody will judge you. Right. That was one benefit for you.
Yeah.
What other benefit did you find you gained from being there at the time?
So being able to mix with a lot more people.
Oh, very.
Not just people that is in my my own culture, the traveler community. Like, you know, I got to mix with other people, settled people, which was great as well. Not just to be in that one group the whole time, you know.
Oh,
So
very good, very good. That's great.
That was a positive thing for me as well, to be, you know, not just us and them. It was all together, you know. We're all got to mix together. So that was a big positive thing for me.
Very good. So now you're older, and you've decided to give back to the organization that has helped you get thus far, and so you're now working with Evolve. What role do you play in the organization now? I see the smile on your face now. The minute I said that, I feel like it's a thing of joy for you to be able to give back. What role do you play involved in?
I've had a lot of jobs in my past and a lot of experience of working, and I've never really taken to it or really having a love for my job or a passion, I could say. So the job I'm in now, being a youth worker assistant, is it's a passion for me, and to give something back to my community and to be there for the young people and to be able for them to build a relationship with me and to trust someone to talk to is a great feeling as well, and very rewarding to be able to see a young person grow up as well.
Oh, that's so brilliant. It's great to hear that. So tell me, Brian, there's this talk about young people wanting to be heard. Like, I work with young people a lot as well. And the one thing I hear all the time being said in different ways from all the different young people I work with is the fact that adults assume or they believe that they know young people well, but they have no clue, you know. So in your opinion, do you think this is true, that adults are not hearing young people enough?
Well, I think that, like, our young people is our future. So I think we should be listening to them, you know. Listen to their ideas and whatever they have to say. We should listen very, very carefully, because one day they are going to be our future. Like,
very good. I'm going to bring Kate to join us now, and we'll have a conversation around this, because I think this is important, especially for this lockdown period. There are young people at home who perhaps we're all happy that they've got homework, they've got assignments from school, they log into their laptop every day. Or what's the assignment from school today? They all dig in and they start doing the homework. That keeps them busy. When that is over, the next thing is, okay, what else is there for them? My boys are in karate, and then my younger boy, who is in sports and plays football, he has all this football exercises he can do and practices he can get involved in on a daily basis from the Football Association. So beyond that, are we talking to our young people enough during this lockdown? Do we even know what they're feeling or what's going on in their head? Kay, what do you think?
I think because this is such new territory for everybody, where when it's other problems that young people are facing, when you're an adult, you're kind of going, well, I've gone through that, or I know someone who's gone through that. We've never been through something like this before. So I do think some parents are a little bit afraid, because they are afraid themselves right now. So they're a little bit afraid maybe of saying the wrong things to their child or to their, you know, their teenager, or you know. And the thing is, I always say, I don't ever think there's a wrong conversation. You know, talk to your child appropriately for their age. Obviously, you're not going to let your 4 or 5 year old sit down and watch the RT news and things like that. But I know people who aren't even letting their teenagers watch the news. And I don't actually think that's quite a good idea, because apart from anything else, to get facts somewhere about coronavirus and about what's going on. And it's either going to be from their mate Billy, some YouTuber, or some idiot from some terrible website. So you're better off letting them watch the likes of the Sky News or BBC or RTE. Now, once a day is plenty, and very short bits, or even every couple of days, so they're not inundated with information, but let them get accurate information. I think that's really, really important, because we've had our young people say to us in group chats, and I've had my boys say to me from, over the time, the past few weeks, saying, oh my God, I heard blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of going, no, that's not true. We even had young people in our youth club tell us that people from the African community couldn't get coronavirus. And I was like,
that talk that
and then straight away I went,
reality.
Yeah. And then straight away I went, yeah. But initially I was like, no, that's not true. And then I kind of went, oh, actually, do you know what? I need to actually go and find out if that's absolutely 100% the answer. And I think that's all you can do as an adult. Don't stand there and go, no, you're definitely wrong and I'm definitely right. Because at the time, the minute I said that was wrong, straight away I went, oh God, maybe it is right. I'm not a medical professional. In regards to listening to our young people, as a parent, most parents will know their kids. They'll know when they're having bad days. They'll know when they're having good days. There's days when it's hard to get them just out of the bed, just to get them up. The fatigue is setting in now. The tiredness we are feeling at the moment is not a normal tiredness. It's not a tiredness from being busy and being active and getting up early and going to work and rushing and racing. We're fatigued right now. So, and I think as grown-ups, we actually forget that children and teenagers are mini grown-ups. They're mini human beings. So if we're feeling tired, or if we're not in the mood for dinner, or if we're not feeling this, obviously our kids are feeling something very similar, and I think having conversation about their fears, like my boys would be like, Mom, do you really think this is going to be over soon? And I'm like, I honestly don't know, and there's that kind of, for the first time ever, I think us as grown-ups, we don't have the answers. And I think I know for a fact it's really bothering me. I like to know stats, I like to know information, and I like to have the answers. And for the first time in my life, we don't know. Like I'm the person who the Wednesday before the school shut was like, this will be fine. Why is everyone overreacting? And then it was Thursday, it was like, yeah, schools are shutting. You're closing your youth service. And I was like, oh, okay. So I've been very careful with my, I think this is happening next face, because none of us really know what's happening next. But I do think young people and adults, we sometimes can clash. We clash for two different reasons. As adults, we very quickly forget how irritating we were when we were delightful teenagers. I think we all have very rose-tinted view of how fabulous we were.
Yes.
Yeah. We all kept tidy rooms. We never answered back our parents. We always did our homework. This and yeah. So I think we can be and teenagers more so than adults live in the very present moment. They're very impatient creatures. Even if you're making something or doing something with teenagers, they want instant results. Where adults were more happy to let things grow and take time and things like that. So if you think you're an impatient person who's living in the present, and your present has very much been put on pause, you can't see, like as grown-ups, we know this is going to come to an end. We know things are going to change. We know we're going to survive. We know we're going to be okay. So young people need to hear that from you. As parents, as the adults, you need to tell your young people, this is going to be okay. Somebody we know might get sick. Somebody we know possibly might die, in the community or whatever. But for the most part, we are going to be okay. We're going to get through this. You're going to go back to school. Your father's going to go back to work, and even maybe possibly it mightn't be that job. It might be another job. But I think sometimes people, because they hear parents talking, they hear the whispers. They know as soon as my boys say, you and dad are talking really quietly, it's the opposite of a row, they go, there's something going on. They nearly prefer to hear us having a row because at least they can hear the conversation. But if it's whispers, that's when they get really concerned, and they know the grown-ups are trying to keep something from them. And once they're mid-teens, they're due respect to be able to understand and digest the information that's been given to them. I think we need to allow them to be afraid. Let them be worried. It's okay. It's not going to break them. They're not going to fall apart and crumble, and I think as parents, sometimes we do this helicopter parenting, it's called, where we hover around, going, oh my God, don't let him fall. He can't bump his head. We can't fix this. We cannot fix this as parents, and we need to remember that, and we need to stop circling them completely trying to protect them from everything. This is going to make them stronger. We're talking about our young people not having resilience. My goodness, this is going to create resilience. This is going to make our young people stronger. Can you imagine the story they're going to have? You know, like, I'm sure you do it to your kids too, Yemi. I go, you have no idea how hard it is. When I was your age, I had no this and no that. And this is their when I was your age story. You know, when they're turning into adults, they'll go, hey, listen here, you, when I was 15, your granny locked me in the house for 6 weeks. You have no idea how hard it is. I wasn't even allowed to go out and talk to my friends. So this is their when I was your age story. Let them have the story. Don't try and take every bit of the badness away from them. They need to know how serious this is. They need to know so they can stay in and they can understand that they need to stay in. They need to stay safe. They need to wash their hands. They need to do 2 meter social distancing. They need to know that if you trust them to walk to the shop, that if they bump into their friend, and I don't mean that in a figurative way, if they meet their friends, that they're going to keep 2 meters apart. You know, they need to know this. They are going to go back to school in September or October, whenever schools reopen. They need to be prepared. This virus is not going to disappear from what I'm saying and hearing the professionals say. We need to change it, and they need to be resilient. They need to, and they also need to see the good parts in it. My son just painted his wall the other night because he's so bored. I went, here, there's a wall. Go do a mural. So they're also getting to do kind of cool things maybe they didn't get to do before. We're playing more board games. We haven't played so many board games since they were little tiny boys and girls, you know. So it's really good to be able to do certain things that, you know, but do listen to them. They are sad. They're scared. You know, we're pack animals. They're missing their pack of their friends. You know, don't be dismissive. Don't be the grown up in the room just going, oh, you're fine. You've no worries. You don't know nothing. Of course they have worries. They have worries about their friends. They have worries about when is this going to be over. Third years, they're finally today found out they have no junior cert and there'll be certain celebrations.
Yeah.
But some schools are going to bring in some kind of an exam. The 6 years, it's still hovering over them about their leaving cert and their future. And to say to them, oh, it's only your leaving cert. That's too dismissive. You know, all these things in teenagers' lives are transitioning things. So if you were to grow a very small
in their lives that they're probably going to be missing and they're not going to have it again.
Yeah.
That's the whole season gone.
No. Yeah. And even if it's postponed to a time then it's not as important. It's not the same special moment, you know. Like if you were to grow a small plant, you wouldn't take it from the greenhouse and just put it outside in the frost. You know, you do this thing called transitioning, where you take the small plant, you put it outside for a day, then you put it back into the greenhouse. The summer of 6th year is kind of their transitioning, where they're transitioning from being little children into being the grown-ups. So we can't turn around and say, oh, grow up. They need time to do it. They need the time to process. Yeah, you know, so I think, you know, as you said earlier on, don't bash teenagers, because I will defend them, even though I bash my own from time to time, not figuratively, of course. You know, they do need to be listened to, you know. Just don't dismiss them. Obviously, if they're lying in bed for 3 days in a row and they're really being pains in the butt, then you need to be a parent and you need to step into the ethics. You know, they have their own worries and concerns.
Oh, wow. Some really powerful things you've shared there, Kay. And I'm going to bring Brian to join us again. And we can have a conversation about some of the things that you said. I mean, you've said that. Let me just quickly see if I can capture some of the things you've said, because they're so powerful. I loved your reference to the helicopter parenting, where parents hover around. They just hover around the children and they don't want things to happen. I guess literally every parent does that. We're trying to keep them safe. We're saying, don't jump. If you jump, you break something. You know, in the part of Africa where it comes from, they talk about allowing a child to stick their hand in fire. It's crazy, right? But they always say, you don't tell a child not to have his finger in fire. If he does it next time, nobody needs to tell him. He will know. The minute he sees the flicker, he knows. He will run a million miles. So allowing them to have their own experience is key. Even as adults, we have our own experience, and they say experience is the best teacher. So maybe the time when the need to have their own experience to learn about life. You know, they're not in the four walls of a school. So this is homeschooling, and then it's life schooling for them because they're home 24/7, literally. So they have to have that experience. A couple of days ago, this was I think about 2 weeks ago, my son was one of my kids. My son's he was he's one of those who just jumps down the stairs in blocks of 3 and 4. He doesn't just go down the stairs like regular people like us. He flies. He's going 1, 3, 5, and in 2 strides he's down the stairs. And I'm upstairs screaming, "Big Stagey!" He's like, "I'm okay, mom." It's so I get a fright every time he's going down the stairs. And then not even climbing down the stairs, here he was playing in the kitchen. He was actually practicing his karate, and he almost twisted his ankle. So he had, for days, almost the good part of a week, his leg was sore and it was swollen. And I sat there thinking, okay, so this is not the time to go to the hospital. And I was asking myself, do I give out to him, or do I help him understand that now, you see, this is a life lesson? So I chose the latter. And even he now is very cautious, and he keeps repeating, well, the hospital is not the best place to go now. It's holding corona, so I don't want to go there. So we have to allow them.
Well, I think you're not a parent unless you say that at least once a week at the moment. Nobody needs to go to the casualty right now. Yeah,
exactly. And I love the bit you talked about. They have to live through this pandemic. They have to just live through it. We have to speak to them about it. We have to tell them what's happening in the language they understand. They don't have to hear it from the news or from their friends, because they're always online chatting with their friends. We have to be able to give them the facts as well, and they will feel some comfort. I think that's the one thing that they really need, the reassurance and the comfort from their parents, knowing that they can always come and ask you questions, is this true? Is this what it is? Brian, what's the nature of your work now with young people? Tell us, what do you do? I mean, you were learning before, and now you're the teacher. You're a youth worker yourself. What's the nature of your work? What do you do with young people now?
Well, what we used to be doing before all this, we were doing some activity and programs such as cookery programs and fitness programs, art and crafts, and STEM programs as well. So there's a lot of programs that we were running before all this happened. But for now, we are obviously online. So myself, I'm on the PlayStation 4 Fortnite. A lot of our young people are on that, and so I have been.
They are.
I've been contacting with them on the headset, so I've been talking to them through that. So I have, which that's been positive as well, because we built.
He's really bad.
And I'm very bad at the game as well. They get
very bad
out of me with the game.
Do they beat you at it all the time?
Yeah, they beat me all the time. Yeah. So they get a great laugh when I come on, because they get to beat me the whole time.
So that's a case of the students have become the master.
They beat me at my own game.
Brian, you mentioned earlier there that you're from the traveler community. Do you find? Do you think that this pandemic is a bit challenging for members of the traveler community, or do you think that it's the same as every other person generally?
It can be challenging for some people, I think, because if they're not educated properly or of their knowledge and things like that, and trying to keep people to stay indoors and not knowing enough information about COVID-19 and things like that. I think that can be challenging for people.
And right now, are you, with the knowledge that you have, I suppose one of the things that you're probably doing with your community is helping to bring that information to them?
Exactly, yeah. So bringing that information to the family homes and things like that, and keeping them up to date on what's going on and things like that. So people are not in fear and worrying and things like that. I'm just trying to get people to stay at home. It's actually safer staying at home, and you can't go and visit your granny or your grandparents or anything like that. Just by staying at home, you're actually looking after them.
Yeah, that's one of the challenging things. Everyone is craving for a hug right now, craving for some form of human connection, and we're missing the people that we love. But like you said there, Brian, the best way to look after them right now is to stay home when there's no need
Of course,
to go
yeah.
out. Yes, it's the best way to look after them. And otherwise, we don't know. Nobody knows if if they're carriers. Everyone, you never
Exactly.
know if people are even asymptomatic until they begin to display symptoms. And that's where the challenge comes in. So one could have contracted it and then passed it on to other people without realizing it. So it's key that everybody stays home.
And there's a quite a lot of overcrowding within the traveling community. So we have found, like, with the families we would work in with, you could possibly maybe have like 3 family units within the one house. So you could have grandparents, and then you'd have maybe 2 other lots of families. And then also there's a lot of underlying health issues within the traveling community. And, so if there's a lot of asthma or heart disease within the one family, that would put them more at risk. So the new guidelines now at the moment are that the traveling community are amongst the vulnerable group. So that if anyone in the traveling community was to get any of the 3 symptoms, that they were to contact their doctor and actually state they're from the traveling community. It's quite important. So it's actually happening with a lot of ethnic minority groups, that they would be more susceptible to the COVID-19, than the majority of the public. So myself and Brian, we've been going around giving activity packs out to the young people every 2 weeks to try and keep them engaged online with us. So, we have arts and crafts and bingo and, different games. And in those packs then as well, we give information about COVID-19 to the families to make sure people are aware of, the dangers and what's the best way to do. And then our young people made a video as well. Our youth club made a video from their own homes using their own phones, encouraging young people to stay at home, because in the beginning, especially, young people were getting a bit of a bashing, which I wasn't too happy about. But, they were being blamed for, not caring and things like that. So we made a hashtag Young People Do Care video. So it wasn't young people who went to the races in England, Cheltenham, and it wasn't young people who went to the Wicklow Mountains. That was grown-ups who did that, And I think a lot of people also need to realize that young people from all different types of community and different groups, that being at home is not fabulous for everybody. Being at home is not, unfortunately, like your fabulous boys getting to do karate classes and having support of a parent to make sure you're doing your schoolwork and having a full press. It's not Netflix and chill for everybody. For some people, it is very hard to be at home. They're in homes maybe where mom and dad are not getting on too well, where maybe mom is being, too hard on dad, or a brother or sister, or that dad is too hard on mom. Like violence and domestic violence increases over Christmas time. And that's when people are on a lockdown kind of for 1 or 2 days. So you're talking about 6 weeks now, maybe, of young people being in very vulnerable positions and not feeling like maybe they have somebody to turn to or somebody to talk to. Like the Gardaí have already stated that there's been an increase on domestic violence calls. So I think people, if you see a young person down hanging out by a park or on a bike, just don't be so quick to judge. Just take a second and think, maybe that young person, now quite possibly he's just a little brat who does need to be at home and his mom is going to kill him when he gets there, or possibly they're young people who being at home is horrible. So I think we need to have empathy and understanding that for everybody, being at home is not Netflix and chill. It's not this fabulous, like even the fact of doing the Leaving Cert and school work from home. A couple of our young people who are working off, your mother's hotspot, to download information. How are you going to have an equal education to your peers if that's what you're working from? You've no tablet, you've no laptop. It's not equal at the moment, and unfortunately, as it is, especially with some of the young people we work with and the traveling community, education is not even, and there's inequalities there already exist. So now we're putting young people possibly at home with their parents, maybe mom and dad both struggle with literacy, and then there's no devices at home to do homework, and now we're saying to them, go do your Leaving Cert on the 29th of July. It's not the same for everybody. So people say we're all in the same boat together. And I heard a very good point the other day that some of us are on a shipwreck. We're not on the same boat. Some people are not in the same boat. Some people are in a very uneven boat at the moment, and there's water coming in, and they can't do anything.
Wow.
Just, you know.
Thank you for sharing all that, Kay. Thank you so much. We have comments coming in. If you're just joining us, this is Sharing with Yemi. And my guests today are Kay, McCabe, and Brian Doyle from Involve Meath. And they do amazing work with young people within the community. And I'll just take a few comments here from people. Faith Condi from France says, young people want a safe space and a safe ear to talk to when necessary. And this is really key. This is very key. And we can't say this enough. We don't listen enough as adults to young people. We think that we know what they're saying or what they're about to say or what they're talking about. I learned, I share this all the time. I learned how to listen from my son, who is now 12, when he was only 4. He taught me how to listen. Here I was standing in the kitchen making dinner, and he came to me and he was talking, right? He was sharing something with me that had happened in school. And I just looked at him and I said, yeah, I'm listening. And after a while, he just screamed, Mom! I'm like, what? You're not listening. I said, of course I'm listening. Go on. He said, he folded his arms. He said, what did I say? I said, well, you were talking about school. I can hear you. I can hear you. Go on. He said, and this for me was the icing on the cake. He said, I know you can hear me, but you're not listening. I froze. And instantly my brain went, this thing where you go into a dictionary in your brain and you're trying to find a difference. And I was asking myself, what's the difference between listening and hearing? And I realized that I could actually hear the sound of his voice. I could hear him talking. Yeah. I could hear everything else in the background. But listening requires focusing. I mean, this hit me so hard that I've actually developed a training module on listening. The act of listening is a skill, and I teach people how to listen now. So we as parents need to recognize that 80% of the time we're not listening. We're just hearing them talk. And that's why we're not addressing the need. I see Brian smiling there, and I think he's really happy that that I'm saying this. We need to be careful that we hear what they're saying, and then we're listening directly to what they're trying to tell us. Pat says here, nice to hear Brian found his passion in work. Very important. Well done, Brian. There you go. Well done, Brian. Let me see if I can take one or two more comments here. Good point. We seem to forget so easily. This is Dupre's sharing. Yes, we were once there. And I think they're referring to when Kay was talking about us as young people. Adults once as young people. Yes, we were once there. So naughty in our own ways. Thank you, Kay. And that's Deji there. Well done. Everyone's, just putting some of the great points that you've mentioned here. And well said, Kay, adults not observing lockdown. And so quick to allocate blame onto young people. Very true. Very true. Thank you all so much. We are not all in the same boat. This is Pat again. We're not all in the same boat. So important to recognize this. And this is true. When we talk about we're all in this together. Yes, we're all in this together. We all are in the pandemic together, but everyone's experience is completely different. And it depends on what circumstance they're in. And we need to recognize that and acknowledge that as well. Thank you all for your wonderful comments. Keep them coming. If you have any questions for Kay and for Brian, please send them in now. We're coming. It's just unbelievable that we're almost an hour into the show. We've got a few more minutes to go. Brian, can you share with us yourself as a young adult now? Will you share with us some of the things that went through your mind when you were younger that you felt adults weren't doing, that they should be doing with young people?
Sorry, can you say that one more time? Is breaking up a small bit.
Okay, so I was asking, you're now a young man, right? But when you were younger, when you were a teenager, can you share with us some of the things that you felt adults could have been doing with young people or doing better with young people that they weren't doing? Some things that you felt, oh, adults should be doing this, but they weren't doing it. Were there any such things for you as a young person?
Probably more encouraging young people
Hmm.
to get out there and to believe in themselves, that they can push themselves. I think that was a lot of the elderly people would have been slacking on.
Oh, wow.
It's getting the word out there and trying to push us along.
Very good. I hear young people say that one of the struggles they have is how to navigate life, that they struggle with how to navigate life. And hearing you say this again is literally saying the same thing in a different way. Kay, do you find from your work, your experience in working with young people, that that's the case as well?
Yeah. You know, I the same as much as we think teenagers are nothing like us, teenagers also think they're nothing like us as well. So they think grown-ups don't understand. You know, well, I was a relatively young mother, and I'm young enough to have 3 teenage boys, one who's 18. So as I just say to man, it's not that long ago since I was your age, and unfortunately I probably know exactly what you're up to, and I don't think about it. But to be encouraging to them, and to you know, to say to them, look, you know, you can do it, let's try again. You know, like, you know, this whole young people can be, especially my middle son in particular, he's terrible if he makes a mistake. He's like, oh, that's it, I'm quitting, that's it. And, you know, you're like, no. You know, you learn from mistakes. You learn not to do it that way again. You know, you didn't do well in that exam. Why did you not do well? You know, was there something you could have? And I think also young people need to hear from adults that we make mistakes. We get it wrong. You know, many times at this stage. I was like, you need to go online. You need to check your homework. Then you need.
Oh, the network is acting up there now. We're losing you, going back and forth. Hi, Kay. Can you still hear us? Hi, Kay. Are you there? Okay, I think we've lost Kay. Then let's see if we'll be able to reconnect her back into the show.
Oh,
hi, Kay. Okay, she'll be coming back in. Yeah, but while we wait for Kay to join us again, Brian, tell us about, for you, what it is like now watching young people not being sure of what they want to do with themselves. What do you think that when you watch young people and you see that they're not sure of what the future is like for them or what they want to do with themselves, what does that feel like for you? Because you were once there and now you have a job, now you're a youth worker, and they're still young people. They will always be young people. There are a number of them who are struggling with the future. They don't know what they want to do with themselves. You know, what kind of support should be available for them to help them have a better idea of what they should be doing with themselves?
It can be very frustrating for them, like, you know, thinking of ahead of what are they going to be doing for the rest of their lives and things like that. It can be very, very frustrating. Like, you know, we all have our dreams and things like that, so just to make them to come true. So what I always do is encourage them to stay in school and get the best grades that they can get, and that will go a long, long way for them. Even if they do get a job that they're not really 100% into, at least that they have their certificates there and whatever education they have to push forward and to get that job that they really, really want. And like our youth club does a lot of myself, I ran a program around employment programs, so that was building up their CVs and learning them how to go for interviews and things like that. So it was getting them to sell themselves, talk more about themselves, and that was a really hard thing for young people, is to talk about themselves and what skills to have. And they'll be like, I don't have any skills, and then you start to get them talking, and they have loads of skills. They can fill a page of skills, you know. So it's breaking down some barriers for them. And I think by us involved running some programs like employment programs, it's giving that step closer to their job that you really want to have.
Wow, I love what you've just said there, Brian, about getting them to sell themselves, to talk about themselves. most times when you ask them a question, they shut down straight away because they feel they don't have the ability to, or that they're not able to, or they're not good enough to, you know.
They're not good enough.
And they are more than good. They
That's not the case. Yeah.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
years ago, would you have thought when you started attending Involve, would you have thought that you would be a youth worker today?
No, definitely not. I would have never guessed this in a million years. I would have never guessed that I would be here today working with Involve.
Wow.
You know, I never thought I would be doing this at all. And it's been the best decision I ever made.
Oh, wow. How old are you now, Brian?
I'm 21 now, so I am.
You're 21 now.
So I've been with Involve the last 3 years, going on 3 years, yeah.
You've been working with Involve. And I can hear Kay there saying she's so proud of you.
I'm so proud. I am so proud of him. Like, you know, he went from being one of my young people to being one of my team. You know, now he's one of my teammates, you know, and we very much operate on team. Yeah. If anything goes wrong, it's Kay's responsibility. But, you know, we very much work as a team. We have team meetings every week. And, you know, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of even how far he's come even in the past year, the past 12 months. To see, Brian wouldn't even have had this conversation with us.
No, definitely not.
You know, and to see how much his confidence has grown. You know what I mean? Like, and he's a great example to other young traveller men out there. You know, he's out working, he's contributing to society, he's contributing to his own community. He's a lovely flash car. I slag Brian saying his car does more youth work than we do, because the young people see the car and go, I want a job, I want that car. So Brian, like, yeah, Brian, your car is better.
Over. Brian, you owe me a ride in your car.
Oh, it's such a nice car. It's such a comfortable car. If we go anywhere for training, Brian drives. I don't drive because it's nice. His car is way comfier than mine.
I think
but yeah,
having someone there and having my team around me and Kay as well to push you, encourage you that you can do this. That why can't you do it? So that's what we need to be telling the young people. Like, you know, keep encouraging them that they can do it and that they have all the skills that they need. You know, that they're so much better than I think they are.
That's so good to hear. That is so good to hear. Young people need that encouragement. And you had said that earlier on, Brian, the importance of encouraging young people, building their resilience and helping them understand that they can. They can, you know, even when they say they can't. Because, I mean, we've all been down that road before when we felt, nah, this is not, even as adults, we still second guess ourselves a lot of the times, you know. We still think, nah, maybe it's not the right time. No, maybe it's not me. Someone else is better than me. You know, this person is better than me. I mean, who says? You just give it a go and you do your own thing. And who says something is wrong or right? You wanted to say something there, Brian?
They just need that voice of someone to tell them that they
very
can go.
Good. Very good.
Push it forward.
And I did not miss the beat as well, where Kay said, a couple of months ago even, you probably wouldn't be sitting here having this interview, Brian. But your confidence has just gone through the roof.
I would have told the kid that I was sick and I wouldn't be able to come on.
I'll have to put a brick on his head soon to, you know, keep the confidence from growing too much, you know. No, it's fabulous. It's such a lovely thing. I'm in a very privileged position as a youth worker. I don't get just to see my own children grow up. I get to see other children grow. And as I said, I've known Brian since he was 10, so we've known each other 11 years. And the journey has been so different, you know, from being, well, as I said, one of the young people now to being someone who I will ring with an idea, going, "What do you think? You know, what do you think of this idea?" And I really value his opinion and his point of view and things like that. We so miss the young people. We so miss being in youth club. Like, we're working online and we're reaching out daily to the young people. It's not the same, you know what I mean? Like, no, it's not. We do face-to-face work, shoulder-to-shoulder work, contact work. It's actually what it's called. When we work at young people, it's actually called contact work. So we're not allowed to contact work. You know, what I would say to any parent out there who is worried, if you're genuinely really worried about your young person and your child and they don't seem to be themselves, anxiety is real at the moment. It's quite high. We're hearing a lot of reports of children being very anxious and things like that. If you really are concerned, reach out. Don't feel like as a parent you have cope with this all on your own. You know, your GP is there. Your GP should be your first protocol. And then there is other services like Jigsaw and things like that. And there's loads of help things online at the moment. The HSE are running nearly weekly webinars and things like that. And, you know, reach out and get tips. Talk to other parents. You know, I think sometimes, you know, the old saying that it takes a village to raise a child. You know, we need to reach out to each other. We need to reach out and go, help me. You know, have you gone through this before?
Absolutely. Ask. If you don't ask, you won't receive.
No.
And at this, like what said earlier on at the very beginning, no one's lived through this before. You know, this is our own history. It's our new history that we're all living in, and we're writing it together. So we all need the support of one another. I want to thank you both so much for being my guest and sharing with Yemi today. It's just unbelievable that 1 hour has just flown by just like that, having this very, very educative and informative conversation. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for sharing of your expertise with me today. Brian, thank you for, you know,
thank you so much.
Hitting that nail on the head and taking the courage to come forward today. You are
amazing.
Yes, you're a great inspiration. And I'm sure all the young people who are listening, not just from your community, the Travelers community, but from all other communities, young people who are listening to you today will be inspired with all that you've shared. Watching you grow from that young lad who was just a member of a youth club and now is a youth worker in that youth club. Why? Just because some people decided to invest in you and to listen and to be a part of your growth. That's just amazing. That's what we need to keep doing. Okay? Well done for the great work that you do with young people. You know, you were just a perfect advocate for young people out there. I see the fire coming out of your ears. I literally, every time something says something about young people and you're not pleased, you just go, oh
no, yeah, I'm not putting up with it. No way. Thanks for having us on. It's been great.
Great work. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
Thanks, Yemi.
Great evening.
Bye.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank everybody for being a part of the show today. It's been so brilliant having Brian on and Kay and sharing of the experience and the expertise. I mean, with all that's been said and done, I just want to encourage every parent out there today. If you're struggling with your young people, you're struggling with the children at home, and you're just not sure, we're all not sure, that's one thing, when this is all going to be over. It might be something that we'll have to learn to live with, but we definitely will not be living this way forever. It's just we have to learn how to live with this. It's not going to go away in 1 month or 2 months. But if you're struggling with your young people at home now, ask for help. It's the one thing that you certainly can do for nothing. Ask for help. Allow your young people to have their own experience. Don't be afraid to speak to them about what you know and to hear what they have to say. They have their own thoughts and their own ideas. If you don't listen, they will find somebody who will listen. If you don't fill the vacuum, there's always a vacuum in the lives of people, never mind young people. And they need that vacuum filled. And if you, the parent, are not filling that vacuum, somebody will be filling it. Remember that they're always online doing either the assignments from school or they're chatting or playing games with their friends. So somebody could be doing the work that you should be doing. So it's okay for them to be afraid. It's okay for you to be afraid as a parent. But that's why we have a community of people. And that's why this is the best time of all times to reach out to one another. We're all in this together and we will survive this together. Thank you for being a part of the show today. It's been great having you. Thanks to every single person who has made a comment and who sent in some form of well done to my guest. I'll see you again, guys, tomorrow. Until then, God bless you. Stay home, stay safe, and look after each other. Cheers. Bye.